Hi, it's me, Bonita Imran, and I'm just making a response video to Christelyn, Karazin, and to Bougie Black Girl. They both made posts on single mothers and just encouraging young black women not to end up as single mothers and to just work on themselves, have some sort of self-empowerment, like whether it be through education, through finding goals that fulfill their passions, their interests, through just exploring the world, like traveling, finding out different hobbies, things like that. And I just wanted to, touch on these subjects from my perspective of like being the child of a single mother. People often fail to acknowledge that the child's voice in the matter. They just usually talk to single mothers, and those women will give their perspectives whether or not they agree or disagree on whether or not it's okay to be a single mother. And they don't really talk to the child so much. And so that's why I wanted to make this video, so I could give my perspective and just let people know that as a young adult, it's not something cool or okay to be a single mom, okay? People don't really get what it's like for the child. For me, for example, having to be in school and to know that most of my friends, their parents were married. I had a few friends that their parents weren't married, but majority of them, their parents were married, and if their parents weren't married, they were divorced. That's just how it was. And having to be one of the few people who I don't even have my father's last name, you know? He died and my mom didn't even know because he was the type of man who was very insecure, and he was trying to fill some kind of void that he had in his life where because of his own father, his relationship with his own father wasn't good, and he just was trying to find himself, trying to fulfill this void and unhappiness, whatever, just probably a bunch of complex emotions that he had. But in the meantime, he used his children to fill that void, and he just thought, well, I'll just keep having children, I'll have this kind of legacy without actually, being able to afford that legacy, and hopefully things will work out. And unfortunately, he died, in an accident. He died before that was even realized. So it was very, when I found out what happened to him, I was an adult. I was already in my early 20s when I found out how he died and everything, and it was really heartbreaking for me because, just from what I remember of him and, the stories I've heard about him, and he was a loving father, but his problem was that he was not a very good spouse at all. He was not a good spouse. And unfortunately for the women that he was with, they didn't know. They just, he used his Lothario tricks and charms and was able to seduce slash convince really desperate slash lonely black women that, I'm gonna be a good spouse to you, I'm gonna be a good partner, whatever, boyfriend, and I'll be a great father. And since those women were at points in their life where, again, they were insecure, they were lonely, they wanted love, because everybody wants to be loved, every woman wants to be loved, and they wanted to have a family, so they just thought, okay, well, when it comes to this guy, it'll be okay, it'll work out. He loves me, he supports me, he wants to be a father, he's saying all the right things, even though there's a lot of shady, a lot of shady stuff going on, in his story. When my mom actually told me some of the things that he told her, I was just like, huh? There's so many red flags here, but because my mom wasn't really looking for them, she didn't see them. And same thing probably goes for my other siblings. Their mothers didn't see the red flags, They just saw oh, he's so handsome, oh, he's so sweet, he's so romantic, he loves children, he's gonna probably be a good father, he has a good job, he works in the medical field, medical engineering field, So, you know, he's smart, he's intelligent, he's very like pro-black, like he cares about black history, he cares about black people, like he's very, you know, into his culture and Caribbean culture. So he must be great. It's like, no. So, yeah, it's just very like not knowing how to vet men is really what's being very detrimental to a lot of black women, like young, old, whatever. It's just not knowing how to vet men is really, really screwing us up. And um, I think that if they knew how to do that, then they would just save themselves a lot of struggle, you know? Um, I also wanted to discuss the whole, I guess, talk more to like younger women. If you're watching this video, just you really do need to focus on yourself. You really do need to focus on your education, because your parents didn't work or struggle or whatever working so hard only for you to just have a baby when you're like 20 or 19 or whatever, 25, without, you know, having done anything with your life first. For me personally, like when I saw all the struggles my mom had to go through from a child, like, and just wanting certain things, and like my mom couldn't provide it for me because she was struggling to like take care of me and my older sister and pay all the bills and do everything, and just the stress on her. That's what I saw growing up, just her being so stressed out. And just as an adult, it's like even more, you know? You'd think that it would lessen as I got older, but no, it's even more, because now it's like on me and my sister. But it's like all the things you have to go through just coming to a new country, and you know, being an immigrant, and then relationship things, bad, good and bad relationships, and then having children on her own. It's just things would not have gone this way if she had gotten married, like, and not married to anyone, but married to the right person that you're supposed to be with. Like, people don't want to wait because you want to be in a committed, loving relationship, especially if you reach a certain age or whatever, and you see other people, maybe your friends, whatever, getting into those relationships. You want to be in that too, and you don't want to wait for it. You want it to happen like right away. But unfortunately, you need to be patient. You need to do your work on yourself, and you need to find someone who's done the work on himself. It's not just, oh, make yourself like this not perfect, make yourself this wonderful woman who's secure, who's not, you know, desperate to find anyone, but who wants a certain type of man who just has good morals, good integrity, everything like that. But meanwhile, he hasn't done any work on himself. You know, it has to be balanced. It has to be someone who's equally yoked, someone who is your equal, but also can bring you up. Like, you can grow with that person. If a lot of these young women, whatever, they're with guys who they can't grow with him. The guy is either, you know, in and out of jail, or if he's not in and out of jail, he just doesn't know how to be in a stable relationship or committed relationship, or he's insecure with himself, and you know, he needs to grow up and be a man, grow into a man, like he's still like a boy, or he never really wanted to have a child anyway, so she basically used the baby to trap the guy. And it's like these crazy, like, toxic type of relationships, and women get so clingy, and like they want to cling to like negative things, and like it makes sense because every person wants to be loved and they want to be in love or whatever, but sometimes it's like you're better off like just being alone and working on yourself than being in a negative, toxic relationship that results in a baby who like isn't even wanted really, you know, like it's just there because, you know, people weren't using protection, you know. So that's just my perspective. Honestly, I would just, if I was in that situation, I would give that baby up for adoption. No hesitation. Like, yeah, I'd be pretty sad, and I'd probably be devastated actually, because I love children. I don't even have children. I love children. And I just can't imagine having to give up my child. I think that's one of the biggest sacrifices you can make. But at the end of the day, the child's life is more important, and giving them the best opportunities possible, giving them two parents who love them, that is like one of the best things you can do for your child. And if you know that you cannot take care of this child on your own, and you're not getting enough support from your family, you don't plan on getting any support from the father, then you need to give that child up for adoption. I'm sorry, you just do. Like, there's so many young people out there, especially young black people, who, like, their parents didn't really care. Like, you know, they just didn't care about them. They just had them because they didn't use protection, you know? And it's like, that's why I just think it's really important what the work that Bougie Black Girl and Christelyn Karazin are doing, just trying to encourage young women to focus on yourself. Like, grow up into a woman, and not, oh, I'm grown because I have a car, or I have I have a degree, and I have, you know, I know how to do my makeup, or I know how to do this, and I look all put together, but I'm really insecure on the inside. No, it means you have to be fulfilled, like happy with your life, like as it is, you know, be fulfilled as it is, and like your partner, your boyfriend, who's gonna become your fiance, he needs to be committed to you, but he needs to be an addition to your life, not just the sole focus, you know? And he needs to just be a great addition, someone who can bring good things to your life, not like the sole focus. And yeah, and if you start feeling lonely, especially Christelyn was talking about how in your early 20s, a lot of young women will, and Bougie Black Girl actually mentioned this, a lot of young women will feel lonely and feel like, you know, they start feeling, and other blogs, Black empowerment women's blogs have mentioned this, young Black women, you start feeling lonely, you start feeling like I need something, like when you're 20, 19, around that age, 21, 22, 23, around that age, you start feeling like I need to create something. Like you start seeing babies and you think they're so cute, they're so sweet, they're so gentle, like I love children. I want that. I want to birth something, but you think it's a baby. It's not a baby, okay? You have that image in your head, you're thinking it's a baby. It's not a baby. You want to birth creation, something creativity actually. So maybe you have a passion to start your own restaurant. Maybe you have a passion to start a mentoring group for young women. Maybe you want to start, I don't know, your own hair store, or maybe you want to get into design, like engineering, whatever you want to do. Maybe you want to go back to school, get another degree. Maybe you want to become a manager of something, or a supervisor of some company, or maybe you just want to start a new job and start a whole new position. Maybe you want to create something simple, like something at home, like you want to start creating some kind of hobby. You want to make organic food, whatever it is, like that's what you need to find. It's a passion. That's what you want to birth. That's what you want to create. It's not necessarily a child, especially if you're not in a stable, committed relationship that's leading towards marriage, then it's not a child. Because you see the difference between a couple who are married, who are in a stable relationship, they've been together for a while, they know, like they have ups and downs obviously, but they know they're in it for the long haul. You see when the child comes into their life how much easier it is for them. Like how much things go more smoothly. Yeah, every day is not roses and sunshine, but things just, there's no struggle. It's just, okay, the baby's an addition. The baby's something we can take care of. Baby's something we can handle. Something we love and cherish. It's not some crazy thing that's like disrupting our whole entire life. It shouldn't be like that. So if you see that in your life, and maybe if you're already in the situation where you're going to be a single mom soon or whatever, I suggest that if you've already had the child, then don't have any more children. You need to focus on yourself. You need to focus on filling the void that you have, whether it's left from your parents or it's left from poor relationship choices. You need to focus on yourself and just bettering yourself and growing into the woman that you want to be. So a woman without like all these insecurities and feeling desperate and lonely. You need to work on those things. Just work on yourself and making yourself happy in a positive way, in ways that can help you grow, not just in a materialistic way, in a positive intellectual way. Like, work on your mind, because that's something that's going to keep you sane, and that's going to help you gain wisdom and, make better logical choices as time goes on, as you get older, as you grow into like an older woman, grow into yourself. Start growing into yourself, into the woman that you need to be, and then focus on like, oh, I want to be in this relationship and I want to get married and all that stuff. You need to grow up first. That's like the main message that I have. Yeah, this video is kind of long, but I feel like I've just addressed a lot of the points and highlighted a lot of things they said, but also gave my own personal experience, as well as like, just, I think this is really important, and the work they're doing is very important. So I just recommend, and also just keep your options open too, because I think that when it comes to a spouse, like, it's not just about morals. Does he have moral integrity? Is he going to be a good husband? Is he going to be a good father? Is he, economically stable? Is education-wise, is he on the same level or higher than me? Because for me, that's very important. Like, I want to be with someone who's very well educated, even if it's more than me. Like, I just want them to be a very knowledgeable person, so that we can both, pass that intellect onto our children and be able to teach our children, not just rely only on the, school to teach them. So yeah, just a lot of different values that I have that I also want my spouse to have, so we can be on the same page and like work together. But obviously you want to be in love too, but that's not just one thing. Love is not gonna be the main focus. It has to be an addition to all these other things that are very important. But yeah, I'd say keep your options open. If you're finding that the men that are in your area are not the type of men that you want to be with, go to a different area. Pack your bags, move. Or try traveling. Traveling is, a lot of people meet their future spouse or whatever when they're traveling, or just from going to different places, conferences, meetups, group meetups, different areas. But first, before you even do any of that stuff, you really need to narrow down what kind of goals, what kind of values you want that person to have, so that you don't end up in this situation where it's like, oh, this person doesn't want to have a child, I want to have a child, so I get pregnant and they leave. You don't want to end up in that type of situation. So, and yeah, keep your options open and focus on the guy's character, because you don't know where he's going to come from. You don't know where he's going to be from. Everyone has a preference, I know that, and a lot of black women have a preference for black men, but for me, I just find it's more about his character and his moral values, and whether or not God thinks that, if you believe in God. If you don't, then whatever, you're just focusing on like the characteristics, the moral values, the integrity, those type of things. But for me, as someone who doesn't believe in God, I'd say the person that God wants you to be with. So that takes a lot of prayer, and not only prayer, but like learning about different types of men, without being in a relationship with them, just meeting different types of men, and seeing, okay, this is not what I want. This is what I want, just seeing, not just through dating. Obviously dating helps too, but just seeing what types of men there are, and seeing what qualities you do like and what qualities you don't like. So yeah, that's it. Have a good evening. Bye.